Okay, so here's 10 things marketing agency founders get dead wrong about selling their business. Almost everything that you believe about selling your agency is wrong, and it's not your fault. You've never done it. All you've got is what you've heard secondhand. The trouble is, you only sell once, so being wrong is expensive. So let's fix it. 10 things agency founders are dead certain about, starting with whether you can even sell at all and why every single one is wrong. My name's Andy Day. I'm the CEO of Capital A and founder of agencies.co. Let's go. A lot of small agency owners think that they're too small to sell. People assume that if you don't have a massive business, that there isn't going to be a viable exit. Let me tell you about a small agency in Los Angeles, a performance marketing agency doing about $1 million in revenue. We put them on the market and 45 signed NDAs within 24 hours. 45 in a single day. And within about 2 or 3 months, they had five offers to choose from, not one offer they had to take. They had five they got to pick from. And here's the thing that most people get backwards. Smaller agencies tend to have a bigger buyer pool, not fewer. You've got more categories of buyers that can be interested. Even the large agencies doing about 40, 50, 60 million, these all tend to buy sub 5 million revenue agencies. That's the sweet spot. And you don't need 6 months to find out. Traditional M&A firms, they can take up to 6 months just to get you to market, and it's an absolute piss take in this day and age. We have you to market within 5 to 7 days. One caveat though, and I'll be straight with you because this is the whole point. You have to invest in the outcome. Nobody is taking you to market for free if they have buyers, if they have a network. What you shouldn't accept is an endless retainer. Our fee is capped. And if the deal isn't done in 6 months, we don't come back asking you for more money. We just keep going until we get the deal done. So, too small to sell? No, I'm willing to invest in an outcome. That's the only thing that actually is making you unsellable. Number two, I want to tell you what buyers actually say about you when you're not in the room. One of the most active buyers that I know, she looks at deals all day long. She told me about a founder who said, "Oh, I'm not really involved in the business anymore." And she just goes, founder's definitely still involved. They're trying to add back their own salary into the EBITDA, but you can see that they're spending 25 hours a week on the business. And then it's, oh no, we don't have a key man risk. We've got this one guy, he handles sales and operations and everything else, and they pay him 50 grand a year or something ridiculous. Her words to me are, these guys are lying. And she's not being harsh. Every serious buyer sees through the same bullshit. And the second they catch you shading the truth about how involved you actually are, they stop trusting your numbers, your pipeline, all of it. One small lie, and now everything is suspicious. But here's the deeper problem. An acquirer isn't looking for a job, they're looking for a business. So if you are the business, pretending you're not doesn't fix anything. The answer isn't to hide how essential that you are, it's to spend the year before you sell making yourself genuinely replaceable. So when she asks who runs the business without you, there's a real answer. Otherwise, don't hide that it's you. The solution for everyone is just a longer earnout. Number three, the worst way to lose money in a sale isn't accepting a lowball offer, it's accepting a fantasy one. Stay with me for this. So I've got this founder seller who I've been talking to for about 3 years. Good business, real clients, real pipeline. He's a brilliant operator. On the numbers, he's worth around 6 or 7 times EBITDA. So solid, real, bankable. Anyway, a couple of years ago, an investor comes along, dangles a number at him about 3 times what he's worth, tens of millions, actually. It's a cleverly built deal. The cash at close is roughly what the business is actually worth, right? And then there's a big pile of stock stacked on top of that to get to the headline figure, as well as an earnout. And he's been chasing that carrot ever since. He won't go to market with me because why would you take a fair price when someone's waving a fantasy at you. But here's the problem. That deal never closes. And it never closes for a dead simple reason. Somebody's got to underwrite the pricing for it. The investor has to go and raise the money against that number, and the people he's raising from can do exactly the same kind of maths that I'm doing. They just go, that's not worth 30, that's 10. And so the money never shows up and the carrot stays a carrot. If he just priced honestly at 6 or 7 times on day one, he'd have had the cash in his account by now. Instead, he's 2 years older with nothing signed. An inflated valuation doesn't cost you money, it costs you years and you don't get those back. Number four, this one still stings. We had a deal, good deal. We got through the LOI, got through most of due diligence. Everyone's basically got one hand on the pen, and then it goes into quality of earnings. That's the deep forensic dig into your numbers. And coming out the other side, the buyer's got more questions. Fair enough, right? But then there's a few more, and then they start making asks, start tweaking the working capital, this, that. And every time the seller's thinking that they're at the finish line, the goalposts move again. And I'll tell you what actually kills all deals at this stage. It's not the questions, it's the exhaustion. Deal fatigue is a real thing. Once you've been through a long process and then a quality of earnings, and then there are more questions after that, you're just sat there going, are these people serious about closing? And if somebody moves the goalposts again, you're done. You're just exhausted by them. That deal died, but here's the gut punch. The seller said to me himself afterwards, we uncovered some of this too deep into the process. If we'd have surfaced it earlier and just been more forthright from the start, we probably could have got through it. Most buyers can overcome pretty much any problem in a company that they're looking at buying. What they can't overcome is finding it late when everyone's already knackered and the trust is gone. Get the skeletons out early, every single one, day one, not day 90. Right, number five. I'm going to let you in on something that I do for the other side. We work on the buy side as well as the sell side. And the buy side, one of our jobs is this. We knock on a founder's door, we make them an offer, and we get the deal closed before anybody else can get near them. It's a smart tactic. It's a very common one, and it works because it's flattering, it feels easy, and the seller never finds out what the open market would have paid. So when a buyer comes knocking on your door out of nowhere with a nice offer, understand what's actually happening. That's not luck. That's the play. They're trying to lock you up before you've got anything to compare it to. And this is the single biggest mistake I see with sellers. Somebody gets approached, they accept that offer as if it's the only one that's available, and then that's it. Game over. They never even found out if there was a better deal on the table. Here's what we did for one seller in exactly that spot. The buyer came knocking. Instead of saying yes, we slowed the whole offer down, bought 2, 3 weeks. And in that window, we got her out to the wider market to pull in other interest. Worst case, she's got leverage. She can go back and say, I've got other people at the table now. Give me your best number. She signed inside about 8 days, but on her terms, not theirs. So if someone knocks on your door tomorrow, don't say yes straight away. Don't say no. Say, give me 2 weeks. And then that 2 weeks could be worth a fortune. Number six, let me do the maths that founders never do. So I had a seller with a solid offer right in front of him, and he didn't like something about it. Instead of negotiating, he got offended by whatever it was. And he says to me, you know what? Forget it. I'll just take it to market myself next year. Next year is fine, but here's what he wasn't counting. This is someone who is pretty much ready to sell and wants to be out next year. So it takes 6 to 12 months to get a deal done from a standing start, from scratch. So he waits his 12 months to even begin, then add another 6 to 12 months to actually close. And now he's nearly 2 years away from exactly the same type of deal that he's sitting in front of right now. 2 years for the same size check, if the market holds, if his numbers hold, if a buy is even still there. And here's the part that really costs him. The worst possible time to sell is the other side of all of that. When you've waited, when you're exhausted, when you've had enough of the business. Because what a buyer does not want to do is buy exhausted people. They can smell it and it comes straight off your price. Or worse, there's no offers at all. So when you're staring at an offer thinking, I reckon I could get better than this if I just wait, the question isn't, could I get better later? It's how do I make this offer I have work for me? Or what do 2 more years of grinding this out actually cost me? That's the real number, and nobody ever puts it on the term sheet. Number seven, nobody wakes up one morning wanting to just sell their business. Nobody. In every single deal I do, something happened first. So this guy calls me about 60 years old. He's built his agency for 20 plus years, over 2 decades. He's poured his life into this thing. And I ask him, why now? What's changed? And he says, we just moved house 15 minutes away from my daughter and my son-in-law and my brand new 3-month-old grandson. And then I just think it's time to sell. That was it. That was his trigger, not a spreadsheet or a multiple, a 3-month-old. So he told me the arrival of that grandson just got his mind working because the alternative was to keep grinding out another few years and then sell. And he goes, that seems completely counterproductive to waste a few more years working in a business that he could hand over probably for the same price now. And my favorite line that he gave me, he says, it's going to be a little weird on closing day, walking out of my attorney's office with a whole new vision as to the size of the boat that I'm going to buy. And he's going to go work on his golf swing. So here's the point for you. Your trigger, your trigger is coming. A grandkid, a health scare, a competitor knock in, or just being tired. You don't know which one, but it's coming. And the founders who win are the ones who got the business ready before it arrives. Because a prepared seller who doesn't have to sell beats a desperate one every single time. Number eight, this one's for the buyers because buyers, you think you lose deals on price. You don't. You lose them on speed. So I work with a buyer, a really active buyer, looks at deals constantly. He says to me, he says to me about the one that got away. Good business. He wanted it. But by the time his team has scheduled a call with the founders, those founders had already got an LOI from somebody else. So he sends in all of the follow-up questions, but they're already now signed with that other buyer. So they're gone. They're off the market within days. Another one, he goes, looks at the numbers, took his time. Someone made a move before he could even get an LOI in, beaten to it. And here's the market that they're playing in. It's a seller's market right now. On our marketplace, for every 2 buyers, we have 1 seller. And when a good agency lists, responses land within 24 hours. So if you're a buyer who needs a week to think about it, you're not being careful, you're being slow, and slow loses. Because here's the mechanic the buyers forget. The moment a seller gets one offer, everyone else's clock starts. We close the conversation down and we use that offer to squeeze every other buyer at the table. Your hesitation is literally another buyer's opening. So decide your criteria before the deal shows up. Know what you'll pay, know what you need to see, so when the right one lands, you move in days, not weeks. Number 9. Let me show you the anatomy of a low ball so you can spot it coming a mile off. So there's a whole industry of internet gurus in the M&A space right now. They teach this thing called no money down, buy a business for basically nothing out of your own pocket. And it's created this absolutely nonsensical little army of followers out there trying to buy companies for next to nothing. Now, is it doable? Technically, yes, it is. With investors and debt, this is totally possible. But you have to have a pipeline of quality sellers. For these guys, the entire model is hit as many founders as you can with a garbage offer, and eventually one of them is tired enough or unadvised enough or has no other option, and they say yes. I had a buyer offer one of my clients 15% cash at close. This is the first time I've ever seen this in my career. A normal deal closes around 50% cash up front. This was 15. So here's how you spot the playbook. Tiny cash at close, They want you to finance most of it with a seller's note, which is basically you lending them the money to buy you at your sales price. And a performance earnout where they control the performance, meaning they could run your business into the ground and make it impossible for you to ever get paid the rest. And here's the thing that makes the whole scam collapse: leverage. Because these offers only work on a founder with no other options. The second you've got one more real offer at the table, the low baller evaporates every single time. So if something lands on your desk that looks nothing like a 50% cash at close, don't get insulted, get a second opinion and get a second offer. Right, finally, number 10. This one's going to sting a few of you. Your management team is never going to buy you out. Almost every founder I meet has the same plan A. I don't need a buyer. When I'm ready, my management team will step up and buy the business off me. Lovely idea. It almost never happens. Now, I've had loads of sellers tell me this, but recently I've had somebody explain this to me. She said, I really hoped my management team would step up and buy it. But I guess the reason they're my management team and not their own management team is that it's not in their DNA to run a business. And I said to her, what I'll say to you, they don't want to do it. They want the salary. And that's not an insult. It's completely different wiring. The person who wants to own the risk went and started their own thing. The people who want a good job, security, a paycheck they can count on, they came to work for you. That's why they're your team. Even the rare ones who do want it, they usually don't have the means. So it becomes this long, drawn out, you financing your own exit slog that drags on for years. So here's the truth: an MBO isn't an exit plan, it's a hope. And hope is not leverage. Get real buyers and real offers on the table. And then, if the team can genuinely compete, brilliant, let them. But make it a choice, not your only option. So that's the 10. Everything you walked in believing, too small to sell, hiding that you're the business, holding out for your biggest number, or your team will buy you out. Wrong, wrong, wrong. And you only get one shot to get it right. To quote Mae West badly, you only sell once, but if you do it right, once is enough. So bin the secondhand wisdom, get someone who does this every day in your corner, and walk in knowing how it actually works, because now you do.